sure and like that page and share it with your friends. We have round 2 coming up in just a moment. We've got Lee Jones again against Brian Rich. Lee Jones, as we know from earlier, is playing the red-green, mono-green, big stompy deck. Brian is playing mono-blue aggro devotion. So I'm assuming that's going to be pretty close to the stock list. I wouldn't be surprised. I think he was mentioning he plays a Curse of the Swine in the board. So
Yes.
he's playing a few
He was
fun.
definitely looking for some swine tokens, some pig tokens or boar tokens. I'm not sure which one it creates.
Yeah. Boars.
Boars, yeah, boar tokens. He was definitely
So
looking for those earlier.
that's definitely a card he'll be bringing in this matchup.
So again, we have an aggro deck going against the red-green deck, a matchup that I think pre-board favors the red-green deck, and then
I would agree for the most part, but so many of Brian's threats fly.
that's true.
And unlike the white-red burn deck, he actually plays a lot of creatures. So it's entirely possible that he just overwhelms the board and there's nothing Lee can do about it. At the same time, it's entirely possible that he goes turn 1 Cloudfin Raptor, turn 2 double Cloudfin Raptor, stumble. That's the only issue with playing cards like that, is you really have to draw all of them together, and it has to be in the right kind of order.
Right.
And Lee is able to play cards like Xenagos, so he's going to be able to catch up in creature count pretty quickly. But for the most part, I'd be inclined to agree. I think obviously depending on the draw, as every matchup is, but I think Brian has a much better early game for the most part if Lee doesn't have his turn 2 mana creature.
Right. I think we're in the same boat we were at the beginning of last round, where turns 1, 2, and 3 are going to go to Brian in the mono blue, and then turns 4, 5, and 6 probably are not going to be in his favor.
Right. And Brian,
on the typical draw.
Yeah, and Brian's on the play, so we'll see what he decides to do with this opening hand.
Looks like he's on Nykthos and some lands and Cloudfin Raptor maybe and a Thassa. I'm tilting my head to the side like that's going to help me be able to see. Looks like I see a Cyclonic Rift there too.
So. Okay, so we get the turn 1 Cloudfin. Yeah, that hand seems to have all the cards he really wants to see. Thassa is
such a beating.
Right, and there's absolutely nothing, looking at Lee's sideboard as well, there's absolutely nothing Lee can actually do about it. Like, to actually answer Thassa.
Yeah. No.
Like, he's not playing any of the green exile enchantment effects that some of the decks play.
As you were saying earlier, Brian's unable to follow up on his turn 1 Cloudfin with any type of action, so he can't even turn that guy sideways.
Whereas Lee has turn 2 double burn, and nothing off the second burning tree. I mean, I say all, but like that still is 2 creatures, 2/2/2s on turn 2. It still is really powerful, but it just always feels bad to not have anything to do with that last bit of mana.
So what we do have going on for Brian right now is he just played Thassa. He's going to get to scry at the beginning of his turn.
Lee has a Xenagos in hand, and he has a Fanatic here of Xenagos as well.
So he's setting up some big mana plays coming up in the next couple of turns. Brian has a Master of Waves, which is going to come in very, very handy and may in fact have 2 in his hand. And he does have his 4th land. I've seen that in his hand also. So.
Master of Waves would be wonderful here. Protection from red is going to be huge. Right. So he opts to not give it haste because he has this Master of Waves in hand. Yeah, it just takes 4. All right. I didn't see the Master of Waves. I was about to say this game is looking pretty rough for Brian right off the get-go. All right, so Brian's going to untap. He's going to scry 1, leaving a dice on top to remind himself. Because, again, nothing's more embarrassing than losing to yourself. And forgetting your scry triggers is huge. All right, so I feel like he's going to play the,
Yeah, there's Nightveil Spectre.
Yeah, he just ripped this Nightveil
Spectre. My guy, swing for a couple of damage.
Thassa's on. It's more than a couple. Decides not to swing with Thassa.
Yeah.
She's probably better as a blocker.
She's going to block a Fanatic of Xenagos here.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with that play because it turns on the Thassa. It gives him a huge blocker. And now when he plays Master of Waves,
that thing's going to be ginormous.
Lee does have a Xenagos and a Garruk and an Arbor Colossus. So Lee, is that both Xenagos? Like both versions? It looks like a Reveler and I thought I saw the God. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So Lee basically has every card he could possibly want to play in a single game of Magic the Gathering in his hand. It's just going to be an issue of whether or not he lives long enough to play them all. So he's plussing Xenagos to add 3 to his mana pool.
And then passing the turn.
All right,
so scry. It looks like a Cloudfin Raptor. I briefly saw that, and we're going to go ahead and draw that.
So we.
untap, and we can create 3, 4, 5 mana off of our.
So I don't know why he doesn't. Okay, he is.
It's going to play Cloudfin Raptor first with 4 mana floating, and here's going to be a Master of Waves.
I guess it
And this
doesn't
is
actually.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So I feel like playing the Cloudfin with your basic island first is probably a little bit better. It gives him 1 more mana for the devotion on Nykthos, and I think that would give him enough to make one of his creatures unblockable this turn.
Yeah, I believe you're absolutely correct.
So a slight misplay there, but when you're just going to be casting running Master of Waves, I don't think you're entirely concerned. That is a potential of 5 damage that he just missed out on though. However, that is a
Definitely
lot.
going to get sideways with your Cloudfin Raptor here and your flyer, all your air guys, and then Thassa. Probably going to try to take out Xenagos while you can.
I'd be surprised if we didn't kill Xenagos. I'd be really tempted to hit my opponent with Nightvale Spectre. Just. Oh,
And
okay.
looks
So
like
that's
exactly
we're doing.
what happened.
So we're
Maybe
not respecting the Xenagos
at all.
at
That
all.
was all 9 to the opponent and none to Xenagos.
Well, the good news is that's a lot of creatures in play, and he can't do anything about the Master Waves. So I guess that's actually probably still just correct.
Right.
Like if you have that many blockers, you're not going to die on the crackback. And you could probably just Alpha Strike next turn. And even before the Alpha Strike, you play another Master, you get another 10 million chump blockers.
And they all get bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by the way.
Oh, by the way, they're 3/2s now. Because 2/1s weren't good enough.
Right.
How many is that? 7?
It's
7
7. So he's going to be
elementals?
able to get 8 next turn at minimum, unless he draws something else to play. He's also going to be able to make 7 or 8 mana off of this Nykthos. So he is way under the
When he's
gun.
making that much mana, like, is there even anything Lee can do? I mean, like, if he remembers to use Thassa, that's an unblockable 5 damage right there. So then if he just makes another couple creatures, like, he might not even need to play the Master at all.
He
Like,
may
if
not.
he just makes Thassa unblockable, and if he makes,
Cloudfin Raptor unblockable, and if he makes the other.
oh, I mean, it looks like Lee's gonna probably put the Arbor Colossus into play, but like Master of Waves can just swing and no one can block him.
Right.
I'm surprised we didn't put Arbor Colossus into play here.
And I'm shocked.
And we've
Completely
completely
whiffed.
whiffed on Garrett.
And we're going to gain 2. So.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what happens there. Yeah, the second Master of Waves never even came down. So
I don't know. I love that Garrick so much, but I feel like no matter how you build your deck, even if you play a deck with almost all creatures, if he's your only planeswalker, you're not even playing Domri Rage, you're not playing Xenagos, his +1 is always either the most absurd thing in the world, or it's completely underwhelming. And whether it's underwhelming because you hit 5 lands, or it's underwhelming because it's, turn 6 and you've played a Garrick and you're hitting land, Voyaging Satyr with no Nykthos, and like another 2 lands. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I hit a creature.
yeah, it's not the worst thing. So going to sideboards here, Lee is clearly going to bring in the Skylashers, clearly going to bring his Mistcutter Hydras, as those guys are essentially like absolutely unblockable fireballs.
Those cards are so fun in this matchup.
Um,
Skylasher having Flash is going to be just like a really fun random blowout as well, because Lee's going to get to be on the play. So if he goes turn 1 land and turn 1 Cloudfin, and Lee going turn 2 land, turn 2 Frostburn Weird, evolve my Cloudfin, attack you,
Right.
bam.
Bam. Ambush that guy straight out of the sky. Other than that, Destructive Revelry is not really an issue here. Not playing enough enchantments.
So something that actually really, really, really bothers me about Skylasher is that it's a green creature that has reach. One would assume it's a spider. It is just an insect. And that, I don't know, that always has bothered me.
I'm going to give a big thank you to our new Twitch follower, F_X_I. Not sure what that comes up to in Roman numerals, but whatever.
I don't think F's Roman numeral.
I'm positive it's not. That was my sarcasm font.
Sarcasm font and spoken word.
Yes. So welcome to our Twitch. I hope you're enjoying yourself. If not, don't worry. We're probably not going to be commentating ever again. So you don't have to worry about that.
We appreciate any feedback you guys can give us. You can give us a shout either at Crimson Castle, right? No, at Sea Castle Events, twitch.tv/Crimson Castle. And you can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on Twitch and YouTube, and you can like and share our page on Facebook. The hashtag we're using tonight on Twitter, if you want to get in on the action, is hashtag CCWEDMTG for Wednesday night MTG. So we're in round 2 of 3 tonight, and Brian Rich is down a game with Mono Blue Devotion.
He's up
a game
with
as
Mono
Mono Blue Devotion against Red Green. So we're assuming he's going to be on the play. That was a really uncharacteristically slow start for Lee.
Right, absolutely, and that deck has to be explosive, especially in this matchup. We talked about how we thought that this might favor the Monsters deck, and it certainly wasn't the case with such a slow beginning. Now that he knows what his opponent's on, he knows more of what type of an opener that he needs to keep as far as his opening hand is, instead of being in the blind. So we'll see if game 2 and possibly game 3 goes a little more in Lee's favor.
Right. I'm a little surprised. I guess that hand was really good. If that hand had a Nykthos, it would have been absolutely absurd with the double Burning Tree emissaries. That hand almost seemed a little bit too slow for Lee to keep. Like, just as a player, I feel like that hand wasn't aggressive enough. I'm surprised he didn't mulligan it.
I don't know, like your turn to
Double Burning Tree.
Double Burning Tree on the draw seems like it's
Yeah, but without Nykthos,
reasonable.
without Nykthos, Burning Tree is just the most underwhelming card in your deck. Like, it's a 2/2 for 2 when you're playing 5/5s for 4 and 6/6s for 5, and Xenagos, God of Rebels.
Well, I mean, he also had. I mean, he did have Xenagos. I don't know if he had it in his opener, but he had it very early on in that game.
Right.
So you're looking at being able to untap turn 5 with.
You get to go
9 mana in
Xenagos
play, or whatever
if
it
you
turns
hit
out to
the-
be.
Right. But yeah, Xenagos, God of Rebels, plays really nicely with Arbor Colossus. It's probably one of my favorite things to do with
Lee
every
is
monster deck.
apparently keeping his opener. Looks like Brian might be doing the same.
There is at least a Mistcutter Hydra in that opening hand. So
Probably not going to play that on turn 1.
probably not, but I mean, you never know. Maybe if you've got another one.
Cloudfin Raptor.
Oh, we might actually see what I was talking about if Lee has a Skylasher in hand, and he does.
Oh, what is he
Oh.
going to tap out for his?
Oh wait, that might have just been a Sylvan
Might have
Carried.
been a Sylvan Carried.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Flukernos and Mistcutter Hydra are the other 2 cards apparently in Lee's hand.
So we're going Cloudfin into
Second
Cloudfin.
and nothing. Again, both games that you talked about before game 1, how the Cloudfin into Cloudfin and nothing hand is kind of terrible, and both games have played out exactly that way. So.
Right, and that's the thing with the Mono Blue deck, is it definitely is capable of some very explosive draws that are hard to deal with, and that's probably why so many people played it for so long. But it also just has so many draws where it's just like a pile of cards that are really good together, but by themselves do nothing. And if you draw the cards that do nothing all in the same hand, then you're doing nothing.
Brian's paying the tribute because it looked like he had a Master of Waves in his hand, which is not going to come down this turn. And it looks like he just drew Thassa, so that's probably the best he could do. Oh, no, it looks like he's going to
Tap that guy down
tap that
forever.
guy down,
Evolve
my guys, bash at you for 4, or excuse me, for 2.
I'm sure he's excited to actually get to use that
Tidebinder
Merfolk.
Mage.
Yeah, like Tidebinder Mage I've seen played just with our local meta, so many people playing Mono Black and playing Control. I've seen that guy be a bad Burning Tree emissary more
Absolutely.
times than
Yeah. But he is a straight grizzly bear.
2/2 for 2.
And
All right, so Lee's
There's
casting
nothing-
another Caryatid and another,
another tribute being paid because again we're going to untap here with Master of Waves for 5,
or we just slam another Tidebinder
or
Mage.
potentially Thassa here. But I would think
It's
it's
got to
time
be
to
Master of Waves. Like, I don't think you can not play that card if it's in your hands.
Yeah,
Like, it's so good. There's so many creatures. It evolves your flyers. It gives you a million blockers on the ground. Half of Lee's deck can't attack into Master of Waves. And now you've got, 4 power in the air. So that's like a really, really fast clock.
Yeah, and not to mention the 10 power worth of dudes you just put on the field.
I mean, sure. If you want to get really technical about it.
It's 12 power worth of dudes.
Oh, yeah, Master of Waves
That
can
guy, that's
attack.
also a guy.
That guy can attack. Lee is holding a Mistcutter Hydra. I don't think he's going to be able to just 20 Brian unless he can stall out for another 16, 17 turns. Though. I guess he's got 2 Sylvan Caryatids in play. Okay.
I mean, he could Xenagos here, And if he's alive at his next untap step, play Nykthos and then just have a bunch of mana.
Sure.
I don't,
It's a
it's
big
probably
if.
not probably still not enough to kill Brian, and you were probably dead on the swing back. But
Yeah. He does, however, have an Arbor Colossus. That's really good.
he does, and he has a
So-
mana to cast it. So we have Arbor Colossus, Mistcutter Hydra, and I think Lucranos is the other card.
There is no way he can afford to not play Arbor Colossus here. Arbor Colossus is already he's probably thinking about playing Pelucranos. Because he can kill a Master of Waves on the next turn with Pelucranos. But that also leaves him open to
Wide
another
open.
4 in the air. That's really tough. I'm going to be interested to see what Lee decides to do here. To anyone watching in the chat, what would you do in this situation? Would you play the Pelucranos or would you run out the Arbor Colossus? Upsides being Arbor Colossus can block these Cloud Fins next turn so he can't attack.
Lee's gonna run the Arbor Colossus out, and
Yeah.
he needs another. No, he doesn't. That's right. That guy only costs 5.
Yeah.
Still
That's
has
really good.
still has the 0/3 blocker.
That guy has reach.
He does. And
We have a Thassa.
so
Alright.
Thassa gonna evolve all of our guys.
Yikes, because Thassa is entering as a creature.
Thassa is a guy or a girl, whatever she is. Or
Is
she
a
is.
god.
All things to all people.
So what do we do here? Do we just make one of our flyers unblockable and get in there, I guess?
Um,
I'd be surprised if that wasn't the play. If you have nothing else to do, he's probably
there's
just doing
3
it.
blockers here, and 3, 6, 7, 8,
Yeah, I think Brian's doing the Alpha Strike math real
Right.
quick.
12. Looks like 20 points of damage that we could potentially do.
So we don't care about our little dudes on the ground, so we're going to get in with those. 2 of those are going to die, one of them is going to get blocked. So Lee's going to take 5,
6,
7.
9, because it looks like we've made the Cloud Fin Raptor unblockable.
Right. But he can block
You can block 3 of them. So
3 of them,
6,
so 7.
No, 2's going to get through, so
Math is
4,
hard.
7, yeah.
So,
So
alright.
half our life total.
Yeah, it seems like a reasonable attack from Brian. Especially because next turn we can untap and make Thassa and a flyer unblockable.
Right. And that's going to be really close to you're dead.
Bonfire off the top would be really good right here. Pretty sure that might have been Lee's only out. Bonfire off the top, miracle for, and you would have had enough mana to miracle it for 5. So it would have actually killed everything.
What's the red faded thing? Would that even have done
It
it?
just deals 5 damage to 1.
How is it just 1?
Yeah. Oh man, that card would be so good if it was like wildfire
It has
targeting
3
you.
red mana symbols in it. Anything that bad should like do a bunch of damage.
Right. I mean, it does deal 5. It does kill Pelucranos, but it doesn't. It's not a wrath. We could overload Mizium Mortars here.
That would kill everything.
That'd be really good. Okay, so but we don't have it,
Lucranos, and we can activate him for 1 this turn.
so we can kill Master of Waves. Okay.
We can kill Master of Waves. We can still block the Cloud Fin Raptor.
We are still just dead.
We can also play to our opponent's plan.
Right.
Which is always an
It's definitely always an out. I think I've actually done that against Brian once. I was dead on board, and he hadn't activated Thassa yet. There hadn't really been a good opportunity to. But I was just like, well, I'm dead here unless he forgets to make something unblockable. And the minute he tapped the 2 mana and pointed at one of his creatures, I just scooped him up.
And there we are.
And that's exactly what's happening here.
Brian
so Brian
wins
wins
2-0. So
And I'm not sure how much time we have left on the clock. We might try and get another match up on camera for you guys.
those games seem like they went pretty quickly. So I'm pretty sure we will be able to see another match if we can find one that's pretty close to being done. So if not, we might can find some legacy or something like that to put on your camera. We've been known to do that also.
Love me some Legacy.
Absolutely. Hey, there we
All
are.
right, so that was pretty interesting. It's always weird to watch the mono blue decks start with the double Cloudfin Raptor into nothing and then still get there.
Right.
I guess
It's a
Master of
testament.
Waves is a very real and a very scary card, even if
And
your
Thassa.
opponent's not on mono red.
Thassa's the card that kind of I think really makes that deck go, and so making your dudes unblockable, and scrying every turn. I didn't even see if Brian scried during his turn. Like I didn't pay
Just that
attention,
last turn.
just because it really didn't feel like
It's
it
like,
was
have you done